plaintiff, Alfonso Fuller Jr., says the defendant is his sister, and they've always been close because they had a rough upbringing. Alfonso claims he was in foster care, living on the streets, and even spent a year in jail for stealing a car. After his incarceration, Alfonso turned his life around, and he's suing his sister today for cell phone bills and a collection agency fee. Defendant Cameron Fuller says her and Alfonso's upbringing was so rough that Alfonso even had to steal food just so they could eat. And once he started getting arrested for his crimes, Cameron felt abandoned. Cameron's countersuing for emotional distress because she claims Alfonso made false claims against her with Child Protective Services.
Start with you.
Okay, well, me and my sister, we've always been pretty close. Growing up, we had a pretty rough upbringing or whatever. I was put in foster care when I was like 14 because a broom got broken across my eye by a close family member. She was living with another family member while I was in foster care. I came out of foster care and came back home to still an abusive situation, so I ended up pretty much living with friends in the streets, got thrown out of school for getting into a bad fight, got in all kinds of trouble. I mean, we literally just pretty much did everything illegal except for murder and rape. When I was 17, I was arrested for stealing cars. I sat in jail for a year. I was released on 5 years probation. After I got out of jail, I pretty much didn't go back the same route that I was going. I kind of just got my GED, I tried going to college, but I couldn't afford to stay in college. So now I'm just working 2 jobs. But long story short, in April.
You couldn't get enough grants and loans to go?
No, sir.
What college were you trying to go to, Harvard or something?
It's expensive. No, sir.
That's pretty expensive. What?
When I was trying to go, I had to give my mom's information and my dad's information. They weren't cooperative with financial aid.
Okay,
so
they were alive.
Yeah, they kind of jammed me up.
Yeah, my mother was dead, and I was able to get full loans and grants. Young lady, you want to give me some background?
Okay, yeah, as my brother said, we've always been pretty close. We've had a very rough upbringing. He's had to steal food for us and this type of thing. We've been in and out of shelters, and stuff like that. He's always been there to protect me, So like when he started getting arrested, I felt pretty abandoned, But like I said before, I love my brother. I can't believe he brought me here. But
you all always got along?
We've always gotten along. We didn't start arguing until we became adults.
Did you ever turn to a life of crime or destructive lifestyle?
No, I saw what road he was going down, so I've never been arrested. Knock on wood, never been arrested.
All right, what are you doing with your life?
I'm in school right now, full-time student and a mother.
Good. All right, good to hear that. So why are you suing her? Actually,
in April of 2001, I was arrested for a probation violation because I was on 5 years of probation.
How old were you then?
19 or 20.
Okay. When did you leave the foster care system?
I think when I was...
How old?
Almost 16.
And
I was pretty much out in the streets.
Were you to return to your parent?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I missed that. And the reason I asked that is because the foster care system these days, or they historically have, I believe, right upon adulthood, I think 18, released you back into the street and say, take care of yourself without the skills and the know-how to do so. Young adults are unable to succeed initially because they don't give them the tools. So I'm glad to hear that you overcame that on your own. It took you a minute.
Yeah.
So you came out and you're working now, and years ago you obtained a phone on your sister's behalf.
No, I obtained it for myself.
Okay.
And I was arrested for a probation violation while I was on the 5 years probation. And she came to the jail where I was at, and I released my personal property to her. So, we agreed that she could use the phone as long as she paid the bill. Mm-hmm. Fine, because I had just gotten the phone. So I guess she paid the first bill with my paycheck, with my last paycheck that I had before I got arrested, because she did bring that up there for me to sign. When I got out 5 months later, I have this bill for $3,400.
Let's see it. When you spoke to her about it, what'd she say?
She said she would pay me back as soon as she could.
And that's been how long?
Well, that started in 2001. I've been asking her.
When was the last time she paid you anything?
She's never paid me anything.
No. Young lady?
Okay, that's not true. I've been helping my brother on and off for years. He stayed with me before. I've wired him money several times throughout the past. But
I give you money too, though, so don't try to.
Hold on.
Well,
Did you pay the phone bill? That's the bill we're talking about. Not cigarettes that you bought for or gas that you bought. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
Did you pay this phone bill?
No.
All right. And your collections agency fee is for the same bill?
Yes, sir.
Your counterclaim for emotional distress is for what, ma'am? 1,000.
Last year, because I didn't give him any cigarettes, he called Child Protective Services on me and told them that my daughter was in danger and living in a dangerous environment and this type of thing.
So let me understand. Wasn't a problem when you didn't pay him 4,000,
No.
but when you didn't give him cigarettes.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
You know how you sound? You see
I know
how
how
you
it sounds. I know how it sounds, but that's the truth. So, because I had taken him to court, he was going through something with another family member, and I was the only one there for him. And I didn't bring him back some cigarettes, and that's when I got all the voicemail messages.
What city are you from?
Brunswick, Georgia.
All right. Pastor Jenkins, do you travel every now and then? This is one of the prominent pastors in Detroit. Maybe lay hands on her before she leaves. Maybe you need religion. You need some religion. Unbelievable. 1,000 is for cigarettes, you say?
No, it's not because of cigarettes. That's where it started from. Because I took him to court. He didn't have any money for cigarettes. I gave him half my pack. I was supposed to come back with some, and I never did. And that's when I started getting all these voicemail messages about how bad of a person that I am.
You have any of those messages
This
saying
was
because you didn't
last
give
year.
me cigarettes, you all right on that 4,000, but the cigarettes, I can't give you a pass on that.
Sir, the real reason I called CPS is because I went to a mutual friend of ours' house, and I happened to notice my niece, her daughter, was sleeping on the floor, or she wasn't asleep, but she was about to go to sleep on the floor with the other kids, and the floor was dirty.
Okay, that's not true, because they were watching a movie, and I had just dropped her off, and I went back to pick her up.
What was the result of his call? Did they investigate?
Yes, I had to take a day off from work. They had to come in the house and see me and my daughter in the home to make sure she wasn't being abused and living in a dangerous environment. And so the case was dropped because it was a bunch of foolishness.
Sir, did you intentionally call without cause?
No, sir, I called with cause. I mean, plus...
You believed that she was neglecting or abusing her children?
But to be honest, I was kind of mad because when I went and took my niece
you did it without cause. That's why you did it.
When I went and saw my niece, I took my niece home with me, and she called the police on me.
Ma'am, do you agree that you owe him right now for the phone bill?
I don't think I do.
Why?
Because I've helped him out throughout the years.
That has nothing to do with the phone bill.
Well,
what?
Well, the phone bill's still there, so.
Pardon?
Nothing.
So I was trying to get her to agree that she owes you. That means she made a new agreement today. If she'd have said yes, but you see, she's slick enough not to admit that she owes you. And I can't enforce anything because beyond the statute of limitations, sir. And the bad thing about it, you're going to end up paying her because you admitted that you did it out of anger when you called Child Protective Services. Over some cigarettes.
It wasn't over cigarettes. She called the police on me, Your Honor.
After I got my daughter back.
She called the police. It was like 1,000 police cars
without my
outside.
permission. You did not have any right to go get her. She was not sleeping
Before
on
or
the floor.
after you called the Child Protective?
Before. I saw 1,000 police cars outside just because I went and got my niece.
Come on.
Do you want to amend your complaint today and sue her for emotional distress for sending all the police?
Sure.
How much do you want to sue her for?
I mean, how can you put a price on emotional distress?
You need to put one on it.
$4,000?
$4,000, ma'am.
That's quick.
Did you send those police over?
Yeah.
All right, well, you didn't need but one. That's emotional distress.
To me, it was. I was
Grant
scared.
you your judgment because you won. You're right. He shouldn't have called Child Protective Services out of anger. 1,000 for you and 4,000 for the plaintiff. You shouldn't have sent all those police officers over there to him. That certainly caused some emotional distress.
She's my sister. I'm always gonna love her. She's my only sister, my only sibling. So I love her probably more than anybody else in this world. But she needs to be more responsible and more concerned.
I feel like if I'm irresponsible, he should have said something about this years ago.
I did a lot of times, several
Well,
times.
I mean, it's not in my name. I want this to be done and over with, so I don't have to hear about it for the rest of my life.